Welcome to Foundation Friday. The dedication and covenant of silent unity was signed on December 7th, 1892 by Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, founders of the Unity movement. It is unlikely when they signed this covenant that they had any idea how far-reaching unity would be as it evolved into the church we know and love today. We invite you to join us as we explore and share some of the original ideas, teachings, and writings of the men and women who created the foundation of the Unity Church.
Hi, thank you for joining us today for our Foundation Friday program. Today we are once again enjoying the teachings of Unity minister, Unity legend, Eric Butterworth. Mr. Butterworth was a very prolific writer, speaker, teacher. Even today, we use his teachings when we're teaching new ministers, new congregations about unity. This particular lesson is just a phenomenal example of who he was and how he shaped unity. So let's jump right in, shall we? This lesson is called Escape from Hypochondria, something that more of us could use than maybe we admit to. Here we go. If you have been giving thought to this new insight into the truth that we call unity, you have met the proposition that health is the normal state of man. You have probably heard that the human body is biased on the side of being in good physical condition, that God wills good health, and that we can sustain it by getting into that consciousness expressed in the scriptures. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. It is a great freeing thing once we come to understand it, when we come to know that it is not necessary at all to be sickly, and that a health consciousness can be built. Today, you may be looking back at the bondage you once had to ill health and doctors and prescriptions and treatments, wondering how you ever could have held such a limited viewpoint of the wholeness of life. If we are candid, we will admit that there is something of the hypochondriac in all of us. The teaching consciousness is an ideal towards which we are working, but who does not have fleeting fears about his health? Who has not on occasion been scared by the publicity given to the symptoms of ills sponsored by organizations to help prevent them? It is interesting that in the United States, where we have superior medical care and very low incidence of chronic disease, the overall total of persons preoccupied or even obsessed with concern about poor health is just as great as anywhere else in the world. We learned that a new miracle drug has been developed, a new surgical technique put into general use. Yet, for all the progress in medical science, we never seem to catch up on the race against illness. As bacteria are overcome, viruses arise. As tuberculosis and pneumonia become less of a threat, cancer and heart disease assume their place as leading killers. We are an altruistic people, ever looking for causes to commit ourselves to, and many of these organizations are fine to give to. But when the fundraising campaigns are given over to professional promoters, the result is anything but positive. Attempting to promote fear and sympathy, they bombard us with suggestions and subliminal influences that may well do more than simply motivate the individual to give. We are all aware of the very wide campaign in recent years to motivate people to stop smoking. I myself do not smoke and would be very glad if everyone threw his cigarettes away. But the advertising in this connection is little short of vicious, and certainly an imposition on one's rights to self-determination. What is more, the smoker has insulated himself against such attacks, so the commercial is left to be viewed by the many non-smokers who are suggestible to the malevolent suggestions to fear of cancer and such diseases. Psychosomatic research has revealed that one of the prime emotional inducements to cancer is excessive fear. It is my conviction that all across our land, in the subtle recesses of the mind, more cancer is created than by any other cause. This is particularly tragic, coming about as it does as a result of ignorance. No one can watch a television program without being very aware of all the drugstore remedies that are sold by the power of suggestion of many minor ills and distresses. All of this is destructive because through the creative power of imagination, so symptoms are called into being and thus cry out for remedies. Through mass communication, we have been victimized by our own progress. I would not really advocate government control over this, but by all means, we are going to have to employ self-control. One must assert control over his own mind, developing a technique to turn off negatives that may be in the air one way or another. The body is the temple of the living God. Forgetting this valuable quotation from Scripture, we become too body conscious, too aware of organs and their functions and aches and pains, too full of pride, of self-diagnosis. We need to begin to think in terms of wholeness, of the true temple of the living God, instead of pondering stress to the heart or impurities that may be entering our lungs. There is a wisdom within us that will keep us balanced in wise action if we believe it. The diet faddist and health fool enthusiasts can become genuine hypochondriacs in their dwelling on the care and function of all the organs of the human system and the food element said to be necessary therefore. To be overly concerned in this way tends to disrupt the function of the body as a whole unit. The diet faddist sometimes tends to create the symptoms and conditions that justify his diet. In the end, he is led to feel satisfied that it must be important that he follow this course. Do not misunderstand me. Sensible eating has a very important place in anyone's life. I myself follow a rather strict dietary regime. Just do not overlook the fact that the only really infallible dietitian is the intelligence within. This inner guide will always lead us to eat that which is needed to keep the body, the temple of the living God, in perfect condition, for the Spirit of God dwells within it. When we become involved in treating and caring for the separate needs of the body, in the end, we pit one against the other almost without realizing it. One doctor admitted that he had to work such long hours that he had to take medication to stay awake. And that when he finally had a chance to sleep, he had to take sleeping pills in order to get to sleep. Do not consider this a character. This mode of life is widespread today. We have to keep in mind that the body has its own built-in wisdom and regulators, and we need to place ourselves in the hands of the almighty activity of God and believe that the process achieves its own miracle of perfect life if we do not stand in its way. We need to devise a way to take our mind off our body, to eliminate morbidity and hypochondria. Ask yourself, what do you give your mind for breakfast? What do you give to your own army of intelligent workers' cells each day? What kind of example do you hold up to the workers of your body to be their goal? What would you think of a commanding general who sent his troops into battle downcast and discouraged? Yet, this is the manner in which some of us handle the army of workers that constitute our body, by the very attitudes we hold and the things we say, by the state of our very consciousness. Absorbed by fear and worry and anxiety and dread, this we broadcast throughout the network of nerves to all the cells of the body. We are informing them that they cannot be depended upon to perform properly. So outside help in the form of drugs and medicines are used. And when the cells of the body accept these suggestions of incompetency and helplessness, then we tend to render them even more helpless and hopeless feeling by telling them that they are sick, aging, and that perhaps soon they must die. We need to start a new regime of joy, of optimism, of cheer, to build a happy heart. Put on a smiling face, because these are contaminants of good health. It has been discovered that people who suffer from arthritis, hardening of the arteries, stomach trouble, and various ills are people who just do not laugh enough, who urgently need the liberating current of love and joy, which by all means should be awakened within them. So, start each day with a happy, positive outlook, to set a joy pitch in consciousness, and to let disappear the tendency to be preoccupied with the functions of the body. Know that the body is a temple of the living God, and give thanks with joy that this activity of God and directs all that we do, what we eat, how we take exercise, and in the complete and whole expression of life. There is a loving and beautiful thought from Psalms. God has put a new song in my heart, and I sing with joy. Far better and wiser and more beneficial than starting the day harping on the same old tune of complaining. Keep your mind stayed on this joy pitch so that you will be impervious to all sorts of worry and anxiety and fear and the hypochondria that in actuality leads to real physical problems and organic ills. Okay, that's it. That's Eric Butterworth's message on overcoming hypochondria. Unity never tells you don't see your doctor or take medicine. What this message is about is establishing joy and laughter and love and hope and faith as the nutrients that feed your body and keep your cells healthy and well. For many of us, that will include other things as well, but we do know that fear and despair and depression do not invigorate or heal us. I hope you've enjoyed this message. I hope that it's helped you, brightened your day, and given you hope. Before we go, please know you matter. You are sacred, and you are so, so very loved. Namaste.
Thank you for joining us, and let's stay connected and grow in spirit. We are on Facebook. Search for Unity Church of El Cajon and follow us and like our posts. You can reach us on YouTube at Unity Church of El Cajon. Please subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, and leave comments which can help us improve. We are on the web at unityofelcajon.org. Email or call our church office to receive our weekly newsletters, which lists all of our activities and opportunities to learn and grow together.